Hi guys, thank you very much for seeing me. Paulina here, talking to you about you and this incredible full moon that is happening on the 19th of February, just about as we swing from Aquarius into Pisces. And what a moon! Alright, so just a few little notes here. We are at the end. We are not at the beginning of the year. And yes, I've said this many times over, and I'll say it again. We are at the end. And this represents to me a very fertile, lovely, caring, and cuddly time. So the 12th sign of Pisces is revisited again, and this usually means the big bridge. The bridge and the bringing back where you perhaps didn't quite remember something or where you kind of belong, and to bring yourself also back towards those people or these environments where you don't perhaps yet want to be or want to admit that you are from, and taking care of them. The taking back, bringing back, paying dues, recognizing the recognition of time and space, and the cultural reciprocation of who you were. I don't really feel that this moon is really particularly about you. I feel this is about the global all connecting into you and you throughout, you being global and overall. So this is not a fragmented time. This is not a decision-making time. It is not to me looking like me, my time anymore. So after Aquarius, we should probably already belong within our identity, and we should definitely by now in this big year know who we are and where we are trusted, wanted, and given space, and where we were not or are not going to be given anything. So the thing here is to reconsider, why have you ever or have you still been differentiating yourself from your own true form? Why have you been lying to who you are? Why have you perhaps shunned your parents or your grandparents all your life? What have you learned or gained out in the world as an adult? And what have you really produced as a person of your tribe or of your country or of your heritage, of your source? What do you bring to the people that know you? Who is the person inside? And are you finished or are you complete and compact as a human being? Or do you still kind of feel like you got more to learn? So this is about the coming home to, or leaving that which is not for you, and living a life out, I hope, in peace as that who you are. So this is encompassing the space that is correctly yours. This is about guiding other people too, but at the same time I feel this is about truly protruding for you. Take space if you need. Try to differentiate what you've been and who you are, and what are the pieces of your heart and your whole being, your whole story, that never change. Are there certain patterns and certain types of relationships or rhetorics in your world that don't ever change or shift too much? And who are these particular betrayed people, or perhaps karmic betrayals? This is difficult to talk about, that reoccur through your world. So for example, the unhealthy addict. If you have addicts in your world, who is this within you? Or like say the Casanova, who is that within you? Or the kind mother, who is that within you? Or the guilty pleasure seeker, you know, on any account, especially when it comes to guilt, pleasure, leisure, cheating, situations of infidelity, any kind of uncertainty, and just odd whereabouts of where people are in their minds. So the psyche is now affected. We're going into the 12th house collectively, and we now need to see who are the healthy variants for us as well in our lives, and what reoccurs, what we don't have to recreate anymore, and who we are still trying to become away or aside or apart from our family home, our culture, or our previous being. What are the unnatural or unworthy behaviors, and how is guilt manifesting us within us? And who are the different people that perhaps betray us in a conceited way because we ourselves cannot see our truths? And what are the different relevances of consequence that we have accomplished? And how do we teach ourselves through our own gathered mind or through our own gathered self-advice? Or how do we teach and connect with other people on the terms of gathering of information and gathering of each one of us in one space? And what are we trying to learn? And why would you consider having difficulty in your life now? And who are these dream makers? Cards, by the way. Who are these dream makers, and who are these thought generators, or artists, or creatives, or people, or miracle makers, whatever, that you are inspired by or you aspire to be like, and why are they still there? Who are the different types of role models, I would even say, and assertive people? Like, who are the peaks? What are the peaks? What are the galactic, global, overall role models for your life? And why are you still traveling alongside that route? So, for example, if you are galactic mind and you're very, very strong, but you listen to, for example, jazz and look at naughty artwork, yeah? What does that recommend you as? Why do you, for example, sway away from your team, or you sway out of your family line and you try to do something very different, or something very naughty, or something very amusing to you and maybe a group of other people? But what are these relevances and these cultural accents that you have in your world? What is the relevance of culture? Who are these beings, or what are these dimensions that are of taste and pleasure? And what are your tastes generating for you? So, for example, lifestyle choices and tastes may be something that really brings to the surface who you actually are. The videos or the movies or like the lectures that you watch, what you consider tasty. Where has your palate taken you in life? And this is to do with 3D, perhaps, but unlike any other time, this particular moon, I trust, will bring to the surface the true identity behind the mask of that where we thought we belong, where we think we belong right now is being challenged. And who we actually belong with and where we could actually thrive is now here. But the thing is, it's not really about the mind. We can't afford the mind. It is just in the tangible and the tasteful. Pay attention to why this is important. You're invited somewhere, and then somewhere else there's a wall. You're being called out for an audition for a part that you never thought you would fill. Why a certain person suddenly cops out on you, or why a certain person suddenly really wants you near, especially if you're just passively walking through. If you have generated enough capacity to be passive and a non-mind during Aquarius and Capricorn, wow, what a time to watch it all crumble and to let it all fall. So Pisces time starting, things are starting to crumble that can no longer stand. We've got Venus, Saturn, Pluto. If it's not pleasurable, if it's not worthy of your time, chances are it won't stand the trial. And the thing here is that you do not mind perhaps now, if you have really taken into consideration the full spectrum of the 12 signs, and I've just done a video about this actually. Please check it out. It is about the full astrological memory bank of all of us and why time acts how it does. So I've got this video up now. So it is about astrology and how to achieve mastery for understanding the 12 signs and how these cycles work. But also please just recognize, if you're really calm and you have perspective now and you realize that by Aquarius you should now be probably no longer tempted by stuff that you don't need and just own yourself. If you're no longer tempted and you feel fine and you can feel truly unemotional and unpersonal, it's not personal, this is algorithmic. Life is an algorithmic engine. Okay, it is not quite all that, but it is an algorithmic puzzle in many cases. Please consider how you can stay without any personal projection or personal thoughts, fears, and tears during this time, and watch as you and I hopefully will see in the next coming month who, what, why, where, when, and how will inevitably give way, and what are the natural, non-passionate contexts of your energy. And especially now, if you have got the full context of the year, and please watch the previous video that I've posted today actually, if you have a good neurological conclusion about your past and you no longer feel ashamed, afraid, or just dark about things, it is so nice to no longer push and punch towards that which is not naturally open for you and accept that which is. Please, in the next month, if you can, keep an eye on everything. Keep an eye on the details. For example, you were hired somewhere or you were given a job. What is the job? Who is that person that hired you? What is that energy? Has it ever reoccurred in your life before? What is the karmic link or the pattern link to your heart in that situation? Did you suddenly get approached by a stranger? Did you get a hello from an ex? Did you get put inside a situation? Did you get hugged in? Did you get accepted? Please, in any case, even if you get a voucher at a store, please consider this energy. What does it mean to you? What is a secret message within your own karmic slate, as we are all now going into karma time? But also please consider the opposite. For example, you turned up somewhere, you thought this person would be here in the heart, you expected this, you expected trust, you expected maybe nothing before, suddenly you expect, you want, you resonate, you are trying, you're seeking, you're wanting, and then suddenly you see that the door is closed and it's always been, So the thing here is not to reject or appreciate anything else or anybody else. You're not here to teach anybody how to live their life. Neither am I, nobody is. We're not here to teach each other life. The main thing is that life will show you itself in the next while by simply leaving you clues. For instance, you might not need to, because we're in the Pagea here, everything's in the surface. You might not need to check your boyfriend's phone if he's cheating on you. You'll see it. You'll know it. She'll come to your house, okay, by accident. He'll just leave his phone next to the bed. You'll see the message come up. You will see it. Stop freaking yourself out. If your partner or your significant other has never really minded you or never really wanted you there or was no longer interested for quite a long time, you may not need to question that trust. It's just gonna break. There's gonna be a fight, or that person's gonna forget your birthday or something. It's not gonna last. And the thing here is not to disrespect this time. And how we disrespect time is basically by being in fear of what it might decide for us. But we can actually work towards it and help it along by saying, yeah, I am a passenger. I'm a passenger. I'm just passively learning. I'm learning to fix myself through just observing. I'm an observer. I'm not even an observer. I'm in an exhibition of life. I'm just being. I'm going through this. I am looking around. I'm feeling and I'm learning and I'm getting carried with the currents of life instead of swimming against them, instead of fighting my heart. I'm just within it and I am also it. You know, that is the interplay of this particular time. A passive kindness is needed to fully embrace the maturity of this particular transit, and also a less than interested detachment. And I hope that you're there now, and I've been delighted to actually witness there's been quite a few people that I've seen in the last while that don't know how to care anymore. It's like there's like a fearless seeingness, yeah, if that's even a word, and that becomes, I feel, whole, you know, overall in retrospect, as we just become the feeling of all of it as the Pagir has come to really absorb us all under this blanket, within the spell, Pagina blanket, yeah, within the spell, which I feel will inevitably, masterfully place us in life if we aren't making a do. Don't make a do. If you will, please, love, care, respect, dignity, serenity, serendipity, care, ease, and the style of life that should by now be very well developed should be so good to you and so good for you. We've got Jupiter at a very mature degree of Sagittarius as well. By this point, it shouldn't really be a mission to see what things are. It shouldn't really be a mission to see who people are. You did this, she did that. That should not be a problem right now. The main focus of this time, I trust, is not to dishonor anybody else's perspective on you. That's important. It's a difficult part. Not to discard any friendships for being not as important as you thought. Not to bridge gaps between people and events that are just not organically flowing. And not to be kind to a presence by keeping it there. You don't lose a win, you know, like keeping and trying to form a life with pieces of you that may not any longer be in perspective of your greater truth. And the unison that you might reach during this time is just beautifully unique. This is one of the most beautiful, unique moons I've ever seen. If you don't care and you release your worry and you will let life keep everything that needs to keep and let everything go that it needs to let go. What a beautiful, gorgeous, good-looking feeling time for a detox or some kind of eco center or something where you're actually finding a retreat. And I've actually offered or suggested to people to find retreat early this time. You don't have to wait till Pisces. You can do it now. Retreat, care, sleepiness, indecisiveness. Being that person who doesn't chase after anybody anymore, like with the tongue poking out. You don't have to listen to someone if you don't want. You don't have to wait for someone to own up. You don't have to message anybody, run after anybody, scream at anybody. You don't have to do nothing. You have to do nothing. You don't have to do anything. And that means to me that this particular time is a morphing, shifting energy. The mind, Mercury, is affected by Neptune here. And we have a very, very strong heart too, with this kind of interesting framing of Leo by North Node and the Moon. And to me, that represents a simple, delicate smile of the, I would say, eternal, or the unabused at least, okay? The endless smile within which all things are good and everything is just completed. It's almost like all the accounts are done, you know, or a feeling that everything could now be put into just a genuine, calm rest. Don't resist the truth. Okay, that's an important part of this. There will be truths coming through this time, though we might not be able to say it, that are beyond the norm. And perhaps with one truth, we can cut through years or even generations of deceit. And the point here is not to speak well or badly of anyone. The point is to create an impartial veneer in order to sedate your needs, which are not real. The point of this time isn't to need, want, or stimulate. Though for us, being elusive and romantic, it's an interesting time with Pluto next to Venus. It's not about that. It's actually more to do with the undercurrent of life curiously leading us to one or two very simple, unifying, gratifying, respectful, and most humble ideals that we might not need to fight for all of these years anymore. We will not need to fish out or torture ourselves what is right for us, what is wrong anymore after this. We might not need to wonder where we need to live in the world, what we need to do, who our friends are. We don't have to worry and work so hard perhaps after this time anymore. Simply by letting it coax us and just slowly kind of tap us on the shoulder and show us what is going on. Keep in touch, see who's next, who shows up, what goes, what falls through. Where you knock on the door disappears. Where you open the door and beneath it or after it is many other doors, and where you never thought you would be, and you are, and it takes you absolutely nothing to be there, and where you are living for, trying for, shifting yourself for, but it's not for you. And the one beautiful thing about this time is to let it go, and within just one embarrassing situation, one embarrassing knock on the door, there's nobody there, it doesn't open, that one little thing is your life. I believe this month ahead is interesting, but this particular moon is showing me that within just that one word, within that one flick of a pen, within that one movie or that one picture or that one show reel or something really small, something small within that one little choice, or even an unconscious choice or a serendipitous experience, is a mirror to your world. And I really hope you're already finding, or you've found it, or you're finding these mirrors. And it feels to me that it just needs to be with trust and just sympathy, but also you are who you are at this point in time. Your sexual nature is seen, your deliberate creative cycle is seen. Perhaps all that work that you do is no longer the point. The point is who you have become, and the presence is finalized. The presence and the glory of who you do and do not any longer represent, or do and do not repress in yourself anymore. So one last little thing. I like to do this sometimes. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for you in case I've missed out on anything. So I do this for each sign. If you would like a video, to watch a video for your sign by ascendant, moon, stellium, and sun, please check out my Patreon. I've got some good content there. So yes, I will have a detailed description for each sign for this particular transit on Patreon. So yes, here we go. I don't feel good promoting myself. I don't know why I need to do this, but yeah, all the things are in the caption below. So let's have a look. Okay, so the first card is, I feel like there is a not trusting feeling. I want to see what shadow, or what is the unseen strangeness within this particular moon. Okay, so this is this. We are ready to walk out of our narrow-mindedness. please consider this a shock to the system, to some people, but we are real enough to walk away from some limiting beliefs. And this is going to happen every time. Every time we grow, there is a new path, and it's not because it is juxtaposed necessarily over our current path. It is just that the existing path clears and becomes more streamlined and more associative with the greater picture of the world. We have to stop fighting ourselves, and we have to stop standing in the way of our own truth and our own happiness. And we have to accept ease and perhaps the position in life that is just comfortable and caring for you. So it's a very beautiful nighttime card. It's a really lovely card. It is just about freedom from lack of self-worth and lack of innovation. So yes, we are here and we are starting to see. The next card is there is a great joy, and there's an interesting belief. I'm looking at the stellium and Capricorn, and I want to see where this joy is coming from. I want to see what more this shows. So here we have the Knight of Wands. This is a very loyal, freedom loving and caring card. This is a beautiful example of divine masculine. It is a beautiful example of being your own being. It is a beautiful example of freedom, passion, compassion, and heart. And it actually feels to me this is a very freeing card for travelers and freedom seekers alike. But it also feels to me a very wondrous time to be at the top and to be open and to be knowledgeable about your game and your heart and who you are and where your situations have led you to believe you are. And yes, this is basically about staying open and staying practical too. So not flying away with the fairies, though we are approaching Pisces, being passionately good and being passionately true. So the next card for this particular transit, I feel, is there is a stagnation. It's an interesting, almost like a gasp and a holding of breath that I'm feeling for this particular season. So I want to see why this is happening and what is that stillness in the air that I'm detecting during this time. Okay. So here we have the moon and of course the retreat into the last sign of Pisces. I don't believe this is entirely it. I actually have a feeling that there is a need to softly and yet strongly reconsider and redefine our situations. We have to find the moon within. We have to find the peace and the tranquility to be able to pull that old rug from underneath the table, if you can imagine. We have to clean up the old cupboards. We have to maybe hide from ourselves on some level the true emotional worth of a circumstance or the truth of what we are deliberately trying to do, and be very, very gifted and caring with ourselves and perhaps our psychic being in a way that we almost like changing a baby here. We're changing a baby's nappy in a way that we are carefully taking out what is no longer appropriate and we're putting on something fresh. It feels to me that there is a changeover, a shift over that is happening underground, and it feels to me that it has to be hidden or done in the night, or perhaps we have to have rest and a lot of psychic activity or recreational deep trance or just silence, because it has to be done sleekly and guilt-free as well. So very light changes, it feels to me, and also a very light-hearted approach to that which is done. So yes, another card here, and this is going to be probably the second to last. I feel a fear. Like there is something in me that feels that there is a fear within this particular transit, and I want to see where that is leading, or what is that kind of like a pungent energy. Okay, so we are done with the small talk. We are done with positions of disempowerment and empowerment of other people, or false empowerment, and also role play. And this to me feels like the perfect card to really replace the previous leadership and guardianship and also value systems over us. And this is also political, I feel, in order to really bring ourselves to the surface. So we are done with the old positions of disempowerment and memory banks of power and a mimic of it. And one last card here. What are the lovers representing here? What is the loving situation? We've got Uranus conjunct Mars. We've got Venus to one side as Saturn, to her other side as Pluto. We've got Jupiter, a very strong aspect to Mars and Uranus. We also have a very clear Mercury Neptune here in the sky. Also, yes, the moon is walking to contracted sign of Virgo. What does it mean on an emotional level? What is the story for the lovers of the world? How is love represented during this transit here? Okay. So we are walking out of poverty, you guys. So this is a very important card here. We have to see things in a more abundant and perhaps a practical way. It isn't going to end otherwise. We have a window here, perhaps without too much emotion or without too much ado. We can shift into a different gear. And it also kind of means to me that it is not time yet to fully feel alive and well within the spectrum of relationship, sensuality, romance, and all of these exquisite things. It feels to me that there are perhaps certain things that are under the surface that need to be remade. So under the surface there are things that need to be remade, and we have to pull apart things that are no longer guiding us towards our greatness, and also greater homes and greater families. This means that some of the old structures might give way, but it also feels to me that we're finally able to see the humiliating aspects of relationships, the humiliation of perhaps modern time sexuality or modern time consumerism, and what it has given us as a species, and also what type of species we have become due to our methods of procreation and receptivity with others. So thank you very much. I hope this has been good for you. I'm really enjoying this. I am at the moment staying in New York City. It's beautiful and I'm loving it. If you live here and would like to see me, let me know. If you'd like to have a look at my blog, I'm migrating everything onto Patreon. If you'd like to check out your sign and what I have to say for your sign, including a little card reading, I will have detailed readings for each sign available on Patreon now. So take a look, and thank you so much for supporting my channel. And I will be back with the January report. Enjoy your month, enjoy this moon, and delight. Thank you very much. Well done, and I'll see you next time.